My name is Somashekar, course faculty for this course. After knowing the details about the seals, we will go one by one. The first and foremost thing is single acting cylinders. We will see the constructional details and application where it is used. In a single acting cylinders, many variations exist friend. The ram type is there, piston and piston rod without spring, piston and piston rod with spring. The spring may be used to bring back to the original position after extension. Let us will see now here. Here the schematic diagrams I have shown you. Here it is a ram. The ram diameter is equivalent to a piston rod. No piston rod here. It is a ram which is moved with the fluid entry. Then no retraction, meaning retraction how it is? This is only by the self weight, they will mount vertically. Okay. Now, we will see here the single acting cylinder, because one port is there, you will see always one port. Okay. Now, you will see here without spring it is, again without spring, only extension with the fluid pressure. Return how it is? No mechanism, only how to mount it vertically. By self weight of the piston or the weight of the load, it should move. Always these two they are using in the vertical direction. Now, we will see the third one here, the entry of the fluid makes the pistons to move, the piston rods. Then it will compresses the piston. Once you will cut off the fluid here and open to the tank or atmosphere, then what happen? The piston will move back here due to the spring. Using the spring force, it will come back. You may use this in the best suited for the horizontal direction, extension with the fluid power and retraction with the stiff spring fixed at the rod side. Now, we will see the simplest type of linear actuator is the single acting cylinder, mainly consists of barrel, piston, piston rod, seals and fluid inlet, only one inlet here. Schematic diagram is shown here, you will see. In the course of the study, you are seeing various figures, which is comfortable for you, you will practice all sketching the different parts. You will see here I have shown you the again the sectional view, here the fluid entry and a piston over which a fluid will act, then extension will take place. The retraction stroke is only due to the self weight, you have to mount this in the vertical directions. The graphical symbol you will see here, rectangle with one entry only, single acting cylinder. Please remember, in the hydraulic circuit you will see only the symbols, that is why you will see the symbol is only one side. It consists of the piston inside a cylinder housing called a barrel. The barrel is made of seamless steel tubing, fine finish inside the barrel. The piston which is made of ductile iron containing the U cup packing to seal against the leakage between the piston and the barrel. Attached to one end of the piston is a rod which extends outside the barrel from one end of the cylinder, known as the rod end or a tail end. Please note here, this is a head side, this is a tail side. There are different names are there. As a hydraulic engineer, you have to remember all. At the other end, known as a blank end, also known as head end or a blind end, is a port for the entrance and exit of the pressurized fluids. A single acting cylinder can exert a force on the piston in extending direction as fluid from the pump enters the blank end of the cylinder. Please note, the single acting cylinders do not retract hydraulically. So, how to achieve the retraction? Retraction is achieved either by using the gravity, meaning how it is self weight of the piston, or some dead weight. Here the cylinders is mounted in a vertical direction only, as shown in figure. You will see here fluid pressure is used to push the load up, correct. Then return is you will cut off the fluid or take the fluid here, then it will move down, retraction. Similarly, you will see the load is reverse direction here. Now, what I am doing? I am lifting the load, I am pulling the load with the fluid pressure. Please understand this. Then once you will cut off the fluid here, what happens? It will, due to the self weight, it will come down. Here another method is, as I have told you, retraction is accomplished by the inclusion of a compression spring in the rod end, as shown in the figure here. In the rod end, you will see friends here the compression spring is there. The extension is due to the fluid and retraction is through the stiff spring. Now, we will see there are also the many other constructions available for the position of the return spring in the piston cylinder arrangement may be situated either within the cylinder, as you have seen, or mounted onto the cylinder as a separate component used for push action or a pull action, as shown in the figure here. This is based on the how the stiff spring is placed. You will see now here the push action, the fluid is used to push the load here, meaning the pump flow is at the port A, what you will call the P port. Then it is a, what is this here? The internal spring here, you will see the internal. Here you will see one arrangement is there, here it is a external spring. See the arrangements of the spring here friends. It is an internal spring and an external spring. Then you will see the pull action. Now, you will see the using the fluid, I am pulling the load attached here. It is a pull action, meaning cylinder P port is connecting to B here. Then it is a internal spring, see the inside the body. Here you will see friends outside the cylinder body, it is the external spring. Sometimes the exhaust ports are provided very small ports, okay. They are known as a vent port for the proper functioning of the single acting cylinders. Now, we will go on to the double acting cylinders. Double acting cylinders are able to produce a force in both direction by applying the fluid pressure to either side of the piston. Basically, there are two types of double acting cylinders as shown in the figure here. First one is double acting cylinder with a piston rod on one side, double acting cylinder with a piston rod on both the sides of equal area or sometimes a different area also there, meaning different rod diameters are also available commercially in the market. You will see here what I have shown you the figure, it is a single rod, only single rod. These are the entry and exit. Sometimes this is an entry, it will push the thing here, whatever the fluid is there, it will go here, that time it is an exit. When you want to return back, it is an entry and this is exit. That is why I am writing in the all the figure entry exit port, entry exit ports, okay, based on the movement of the piston and piston rods. Double acting cylinder, single rod. You will see here the rod is on either side. The working stroke you have to use it for the both places, movement of the load. It is a double acting double rod cylinders. Figure shows the constructional details of a typical double acting cylinder with a piston rod on one side. Although there are many variations in cylinder construction, now what I am telling is here friends, you will see here double acting cylinder, single rod, double acting cylinder, 2 rod on either side. This now here it is equal area, may not be the, need not necessarily be always equal area, based on the customer requirement the rod diameter also varies. Now, we will discuss what I am telling is here the double acting cylinder with a one rod we will discuss further. Although there are many variations in cylinder construction, the essential working parts are shown in the figure here. It is a barrel, you will see the barrel and the fluid inlet and a fluid outlet during the extension stroke. During the retraction, now this is a fluid inlet and this is a fluid outlet. Please note here the area over which a fluid acts. Please note here the area over which the fluid acts. It is represented graphically the two lines. If you put one line, it is a single acting cylinder. If you put two lines here, it is a double acting cylinder. It is a single rod. Double rod means you have to put one more line here. Now, we will see this, the constructional details of double acting cylinder single rod. See here friends how it looks, 3 dimensional things I have shown you here, the schematic diagram as well as the actual double acting cylinder. It is a cut section model here. Here it is a piston rod, piston rod, piston rod, which will carries the load here, correct. The rod end port, here the blind end port. It is a blind end cap, also known as rod end cap. This is a barrel. Tie rods, you will see the tie rods. The cut section of this I have shown you here, the piston rod, rod wiper, rod bearings and the rod end port and a blind end port. Here these are the various types of seals. This is the bore diameter, the inside diameter of the cylinder. Now, let us will see very quickly, referring to the above figure, a double acting cylinder primarily consists of a barrel or a cylinder block, the end caps, rod end cap and a blind end cap, the piston rod and various types of seals to overcome the leakage. A piston works back and forth in a barrel which is enclosed between the two end caps, blind end cap and a rod end cap. A piston rod is attached to the piston and extends through one end of the cap to bring the power out to the loads. The load attached to the piston rod through various mounting hardware. The left end of the cylinder is called the rod end, while the right end of the cylinder is called the blind end. You see the effective area how I marked here. The ports are located in the end caps. The rod end cap ports you will see the port location, the blind end cap, which are secured to the barrel by a tie rods. What are these tie rods? Are essentially the long bolts that hold the end caps onto the barrel. Please note friends, cylinders with welded or a threaded end caps are also commercially available. Do not think always the tie rods they are using, it is not necessary. Fluid is fed into the cylinder through the blind end port and a rod end port respectively based on the piston movements. In turn, the load movement. Motion is produced by applying the pressure to either side of the piston, causing the piston to slide back and forth within the barrel. Now, you will see friends, the cylinder cushions are playing a major role to overcome the impact of the piston when it reaches the two extreme ends. What are these? We know that as the cylinder piston completes its stroke, the piston runs into the cylinder end. If the inertia is high enough at this point, the cylinder may experience a shock or a concussion, which may be damaging to the cylinder parts and hence affects the dynamics also. As a protection, cylinders can contain a cylinder cushions at the ends of the cylinder to slow down the piston moment just before reaching the end of its stroke. So, cushions can be applied at either or both ends of the cylinder. Then what is this cushion and it consists of? A cushion basically consists of a needle flow control valve, meaning a check valve integral with the throttle and a plug attached to the piston. This can be of the rod end side, in which case it is called a cushion sleeve. This can be on the rod end side, in which case it is called a cushion sleeve, or it can be on the cap end side, in which case it is called a cushion spear, as shown in the figure below here. You will see here the two side cushions. This is the piston, correct? Piston inside the barrel and inlet outlet ports here. Here this side it is known as a cushioning sleeve. This is a cushion sleeve and this one is the cushion spear. The how it will work I will explain to you in the next slide. Just you will think here what happens here when the piston rod is moving from right to left. Here in the cap they made an arrangement here. You will see here when it is come near to that, first cushion sleeve enters the cap, meaning it will cut off the fluid here, go to the outlet. Then only passage is passed through the check valve, which will slow down the outlet flow. In turn it will develop the back pressure, which will avoids the hitting the piston to this end. Similarly, when it will go, it will happen from the cushion spear. Let us will see this also. I will explain to you with figure. Same figure it is here. Here I am showing you the one side cushion spear, how it will work. As a cylinder piston approaches the end of its travel, the plug blocks the normal exit for a fluid and forces it to pass through the needle valve of the flow control. When this will move, beginning, the amount of fluid is passing through the outlet, correct? It is passing through the outlet. As it nears to the cap end, what happens, friend? This plug enters, spear enters first, then fluid will be blocks, then it will pass through the your orifice. How much you are opened, it will go. The needle valve restricts the flow out of the cylinder, retarding the piston movement. The opening of the needle valve determines the rate of deceleration. You slowly have to stop it or fast you have to pass it based on when this cushion enters and blocks the fluid flow. Then only option is the fluid will pass through the opening orifice. meaning throttling how much you are providing. In the reverse direction, if it starts reversing, what happens? The fluid flow bypasses the needle wall by means of the check valve within the sphere. As a rule, cushions are applied to cylinders whose piston rod speed exceeds 6.10 meters per minute. The maximum pressure developed by cushions at the ends of cylinder must be considered, since the excessive pressure buildup would rupture the cylinder. Now, I will show you the double acting cylinder with the cushion restrictions on either side. You will see here the cushion restriction arrangements what they made here, cushion restriction arrangements what they made in the two end cap here and the rod end cap, how they made the arrangement. Okay, here it will enters. Now, we will see this. The tapered cushion plunger provide a smooth deceleration at both ends of the stroke. Therefore, the piston does not bang into the end caps with the excessive impact, which could damage the hydraulic cylinder after a given number of cycles. Meaning, when the fluid enters here, then it will move here, then this tapered end first enters, then blocks the fluid, then it will pass through the restriction how much it is opened. When this will move this side, again this fluid, whatever the fluid is there, first this cushion will enters here, then fluid will bypass through the cushioning restriction to the outlet. Meaning both side cushionings are there to slow down the piston movements, either extension or a retraction. Some manufacturers have incorporated the performance of their cushioning devices by using a tapered or a stepped cushioning sphere. You will see the pressure in the cushion versus the position of cushioning spike in the cushion. You will see here the straight cushioning performance you will see here. Then you will see the tapered cushioning sphere how it is. Then you will see the stepped cushioning how it is. Meaning these are very essential to safeguard the whole cylinder body. Cushions are very essential to overcome the dynamic impact when the piston is moving with the fluid pressure.